Big game energy. James and Spencer hanging out with you. We have a lot to discuss here today. Trades going down in the NBA. The Hornets are making moves, and they are up to something ahead of free agency starting this week. They shipped off LaMelo Ball, and today they shipped off Miles Bridges. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to tell you what teams in the NFL have to make the playoffs in 2026. The pressure's on. The heat is up. They have to get it done. And then we'll end with no huddle. We have to talk about the NBA. And we have to talk about a team that not a lot of people are going to talk about, but the team of the offseason, the team that everyone needs to talk about right now is the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets have been making moves, and they are up to something. What are they cooking there in Charlotte? The news came out earlier this week that they are trading all-star LaMelo Ball and Josh Green to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and in return they get Naz Reid, an unprotected 2033 first and 3 first-round swaps beginning in 28 all the way through 2030, and then 3 second-round picks as well. But they weren't done. Sunday morning it came out they are trading Miles Bridges to the Phoenix Suns in return for Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and a future first-round pick in 2033. They also this week re-signed Kobe White following the trade of LaMelo Ball. So, after a season where the Hornets took a big step forward, James, and they were darlings of yours and ours, we were big fans of them. We wanted to see them make some noise and make the Pistons sweat a little bit in the playoffs, that they didn't even get past the play-in. James, what were your thoughts on these moves, and what are we cooking up in Charlotte?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to lie. You would have thought this offseason was all about Giannis. Giannis, move out of the way. It's all about the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, that's right.
Making moves. Who would have thought, man? 2026, we're talking about the Charlotte Hornets over Giannis and all these big timers. But no, I was shocked. From the jump, I was shocked. And now, of course, you might have people who are happy with the LaMelo trade just because you have guys like Nick Wright who mentioned he's just not mature enough as a player. He still has that LA Fitness hoop vibes. Can you win with this guy? And you mentioned it. They were our Cinderella team. We were hoping to have in the 1-8 series, them versus the Pistons. I probably would have picked them to beat the Pistons just with all the confidence I had in this team. But Spence, the leadership just saw something different. And I want to joke around and be like, the Hornets took the streets out of the team and now they got to find something else. But in all honesty, what they got in return builds out their roster for what you mentioned. You probably got the number. I think they have over $50 million under cap space to spend during free agency. Do they trade one of these picks for Jaylen Brown? Do they trade one of the? I wish I could joke here and say, they got enough money. They could pay LeBron 1 year, $50 million. Let's just get it out of the way. LeBron, you come into Charlotte. But no, I was shocked, Spence. What we thought the ceiling could be to now you trade basically 2 of your best players on the team. LaMelo, we're probably more shocked at. Miles Bridges, we actually may understand because guess what? Are you going to pay Miles Bridges $50-60 million for 16 and a half points a game, even though he's a value to your team? Probably not. Some team will do that, but not the Hornets, and they might see that as a value down the way. And, of course, they got Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen. I know Grayson Allen didn't have the best three-point efficiency this year from 2 years ago, but you still get 3-and-D guys from Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen. So at the end, Spence, I don't know what the Hornets are doing, but man, I'm just going to say it right now. I think the Hornets might as well just go and try to get Jaylen Brown. Let's do it.
They definitely have the assets to do it, and they do have a large traded player exception as a result of the LaMelo trade that they can use. A lot of assets to build a roster at. But even right now, what we're looking at, starting 5, Kobe White, Con Knipple, Brandon Miller, Naz Reid, and Moussa Diabate. That's not a terrible starting 5. You maybe want a little bit more strength at the 4 and the 5, but I think Naz Reid's going to bring a little bit of a dog to that front court. And Naz Reid on that team, I think, is going to be a very good fit with Brandon Miller and Con Knipple shooting the ball. Off the bench, Trey Mann, Pat Connaughton, Christian Anderson. Now you're adding in Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen. You also have young guys like Liam McNeely, right? He was a fan. I was a big fan of his coming out of UConn last year. Their 14th pick this year, Haynes Steinbach. They have a lot of assets. They could make a move, an all-in move, or they could just sit pretty and they look at their 2027 picks. They have their own. They have Miami's, which is going to be outside of the lottery, and they
Correct.
have Dallas's, which is only protected 1 and 2. And next year, we know how different the odds are going to be. Unless you have Dallas as a shoe-in, guaranteed they're going to make the top 6 seeds in the West, which I don't think I'd put the Mavs there just yet.
Nope.
They should be better, but that pick very well could end up being a low lottery to maybe even being somewhere up even higher than their own, depending on where the lottery balls shoot next year. They have all these assets, and then, like I said, all the swaps between them and the Wolves, and then 2033 rolls around, and they have 3 unprotected first-round picks, their own, Minnesota's, and now Phoenix's. They have a ton of assets. They are building things really smart. This is a small market team that this is what they have to do. They have to stockpile assets. They're never going to be the team that's attracting the superstars. The Giannis's were never considering this place. You joke about Jaylen Brown. I don't think that would be a realistic possibility because Jaylen Brown's a little too much of a diva to go play in Charlotte. Maybe I'm wrong there, but what the Hornets are doing, they are going to go in, find more homegrown developed talent. They've already done that with a couple of players, I think, already. We saw them grow and develop LaMelo Ball, and you might have your opinions on him, but at the very minimum, he is one of the most prolific scoring guards we have in the game today. Con Knipple was damn near going to be the rookie of the year before Cooper Flagg went crazy last year. I'm just saying, I really like a lot of the things that the Hornets are doing, and I love their team on paper. Will they get out of the Eastern Conference? No chance to me. I don't think they're going to make the play-in at this rate, but I don't think that's their goal. I think their goal is to build these assets, develop these young guys.
Yeah, you know what? You just pinched it right before I was about to get there because I was about to say, from on paper, I look at this roster as very stable, very fundamental. Kobe White, he freaking played his tail off in that play-in. Basically was the main reason why, because in that play-in, even without Bam, if it wasn't for Kobe, LaMelo and them were not shooting that ball well. Even Con Knipple was not shooting that ball with those lights bright. I was just about to ask you, Spence, where do you see this team in the rankings? Because last week we talked about the Heat probably staying maybe at that 4 or 5 slot. You still got the Cavs, you got the Celtics, you got the Pistons, and you got all these teams that are trying to get there. And so do you see this team being the 10th seed or the 9th seed?
You know, I'm going to say they're going to make the play-in as the 9 seed.
Okay.
And I definitely could see them being one of those 9 seeds that slips in and they're feisty. Kobe White can turn it on in a moment. And who knows what year 2 Con Knippel is going to be. But, again, I think if you're Charlotte, I don't think you really care about where you finish. Because if you make the playoffs, great. That means our young talent that we have has developed, and now we can look at paying them. If we are bad again, hey, we have 3 picks this year. We're going to stockpile more assets, more talent, and see if we can get some winners down here in Charlotte. I love what they're doing. It's not sexy on the surface, and it can hurt a lot if you are one of the few dozen of Charlotte Hornet fans out there. We're talking to you out there. No disrespect. I really like what they're doing, though. Don't be surprised if they're making some noise in the Eastern Conference in a couple of years.
I hope so, man. Because, man, Charlotte, that whole city just needs to do better. We got the Panthers and we got the Hornets. Come on, man. Come on, Charlotte.
Yep. Now, on the other side of the LaMelo trade, we didn't get to react to this, James, but
oh my goodness,
LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards. I think they are going to be the biggest nightmare for a PR department that has ever existed in the NBA's entire history. James, LaMelo and Ant together, how does this stack up in the Western Conference now?
Man, I will say it makes it fun to watch the West. So, they always joke it's easy to get out of the East, but the West is so much fun. You got KD, you got Shea, you got Ant and Melo, you got LeBron and Luka. Well, maybe I shouldn't say LeBron. You got Luka and you got Joker and all those guys. The West is always the most interesting conference to watch. And with these two guys together, the only thing when I saw this trade go down, I know we both texted each other like, we didn't expect LaMelo to get traded. But I love this for the T-Wolves because of the number one thing we're going to talk about is who can create shots. Now, is LaMelo the most efficient player on this earth? No, but at least he can help Ant. You know, when Ant's going off and he's getting double teamed, I know they saw Ayo do a couple things when Ant was hurt in that first round versus the Nuggets. Now you have a guy who can stretch the 3-point line for this team. I'm always critical of not just LaMelo, but guards in general, like Trae Young, LaMelo, Steph. I'm being rude about Steph. He's been okay lately, but it's the defensive side of the ball. Is this team going to go from being, because they were a top, I think, 5 team defensively, and now you're projecting the what? You're going to play McDaniels as the 4 and Gobert as the 5, and you're going to go 4 guards deep. I don't know. You just paid Ayo, and I don't think you pay him to be on the bench. So you have Ant, Melo, Ayo, and McDaniels. That's probably your 1 through 4 right there.
Yeah, I think when you also consider just Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, I think the Rockets are going to be in that conversation. I'm biased, of course. You got Luka, maybe LeBron comes back or not, but there's so many teams in the West. And the Wolves, all to their credit, have always been in the mix every single year. You know they're going to be feisty. You know they're going to be a tough out every single year. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention the actual Western Conference champions, the San Antonio Spurs, right?
Yeah, we
the
forgot
Wolves. We know the Wolves are always going to be in that conversation because of Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. You add in superstar power, which, I don't know, some might not like that term being thrown around there for LaMelo Ball. If you're someone that's going to be a 90 overall in 2K, I don't care about your resume. I think you're at least a superstar. Now, I think that being said, I think it is fair to criticize LaMelo Ball because he's done absolutely nothing in the NBA. Absolutely nothing. But the eye test doesn't lie, and he does score buckets. And I think that's one thing that the Wolves desperately needed last year, especially in the playoffs at times where teams were throwing doubles at them. LaMelo now is going to open up so much for that offense. And defensively, we'll see what he can do defensively. People forget they want to give him the cone tag, but this is a 6'7", 6'8" point guard, and you have Rudy Gobert playing behind you, protecting the rim.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see another side of LaMelo Ball, and I'm not saying he's going to become like Bruce Bowen or Tony Allen overnight, but I think he's going to fit in well with a really rugged Wolves defense with Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. I think it's a great fit, and I will say this. I still have them behind the Thunder and the Spurs.
Yep.
But right now, heading into free agency, I have them as the clear 3rd best team in the West.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on there. If I had known for sure that LeBron's going to be a Laker, then maybe I have the Lakers 3rd because I'm just a LeBron bias on that. But I will say, man, you know what jersey's about to sell out? That old school black T-Wolves ball jersey, man. That's going to be the hottest thing on the market, man. So I will say it's going to be fun watching Minnesota. I can't wait for Prime and Peacock days for the NBA. And I got T-Wolves versus the Spurs. I can't wait.
I'm ready to start talking about some football, James.
Okay, I like the sound of this.
I want to talk about the teams that we believe must make the playoffs in 2026.
Okay.
And if they do not, it's a colossal failure, and people's heads will roll, and jobs will be lost, and people will be traded. All right, James, we're going to each do a team from the AFC and a team from the NFC.
All right.
I'll go first.
All right.
And this is a team that I feel like this is an obvious one. But I'm going to give you a side of this that I don't think enough people talk about. My team that must make the playoffs in 2026 from the AFC is the Cincinnati Bengals. It is the Bengals by a country mile. This is a team, all the expectations, James. Joe Burrow, right, came into the league his 2nd year, made the Super Bowl. He goes to the conference championship his 3rd year. And what has he done since then? 2 straight years. Has not even won double-digit games and has missed the playoffs in both games. Sure, the defense has been a big problem, but they've added Dexter Lawrence. They've drafted well on the defensive end. This is now a team that should make the playoffs. You're on paper a better team than you were last year. The offense should show up. You have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins under contract. Joe Burrow, the second coming of Jesus, right? He's clearly a top 5 quarterback. James, I don't have him in my top 5.
I don't have him in my top 5.
I think quarterback is such a wishy-washy position, but I think the days of us definitively putting Joe Burrow automatically in the top 5 when you talk about the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, the Pat Mahomes, people are going to pick and choose their order, but people used to throw Joe Burrow in that category. Just you have to put him in the top 4. That's what it starts with. He's not in there for me. And it's because of how he has disappointed these past 2 seasons. And you can say defense this, defense that, health this, health that. At the end of the day, teams figure it out to get it done. So the Bengals and Joe Burrow need to figure out and need to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. That was my number one team for the AFC because you look at everyone else. Spence, whatever happens in the AFC South is either a fluke for the top teams, and the teams at the bottom are just not that good. You go to the AFC West, and again, the same as the AFC South. You got Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs. You expect them to be good. You expect the Chiefs with a Mahomes, hopefully the full season, to play, to be a good team. Raiders, we don't expect much. So then I look at the AFC North, where the Bengals were my number one team just because what you mentioned. Joe Burrow, what they're paying for T. Higgins, Jamar, this guy. But it's really Zach Taylor. This is his job on the line. He might get fired, Spence. Zach Taylor might get fired. I know Stephen A. Smith jokes about it. He might get fired again if they decide to start the season 0-2 for the 5th straight year. I swear he might as well get fired because they always start off slow. I don't know what they do in Cincinnati, freaking off-season training or all that fun jazz. But no, Spence, for me, and again, this might come to you as a shocker, but my team that I expect that needs to make the playoffs is the New England Patriots, man. Because what has everyone told me after they lost to the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 61? Oh, they should have never made it. They got lucky, this and that. All the offseason drama with Mike Vrabel. You got all this shenanigans going on with A.J. Brown. What is going to happen? Last year, you had the easiest schedule last year all the way to basically almost the Super Bowl where every team you played, they fired their head coach or their quarterback was injured following that week. So all the pressure is up to you again, because you already know the Bills have made moves. They're getting they got DJ Moore. So you know they're going to be they're going to make the playoffs. You go look at the AFC South, and I think the Jags and the Texans make the playoffs. You go to the AFC West. I don't know if 3 teams will make it, but we'll just say at least 2. And then you got the AFC North where you get maybe 1, maybe 2 teams. So that leaves 1 spot left, maybe. And just seeing what I can see with what the Patriots now, have they done some moves? Yeah, they've done great. I don't see them taking a huge fall off, but from what they're going to get from an easy schedule to now a tougher schedule, and because I expect you to go 4-2 at minimum in the AFC East. That's just me. But with all the off-field drama with Vrabel, it's just all these other X's and Y's and Z's. That would be my team that needs to make the playoffs. Just one, you shut off everything that happened in the offseason. You're like, hey, yeah, we lost the Super Bowl. We got back on our grind. We're here. We upgraded the receiver. We are pleasing our receiver, hopefully, because if you don't make the playoffs, hell, A.J. Brown might get traded next year. Whoever knows. But I still trust it, Drake May. There's no doubt on his side of things. I won't say, oh, he's not that good, because he did perform well. He just did not during the Super Bowl. But if I had to pick a team, because you chose my team, I got to go with the New England Patriots, man. They got to make the playoffs.
It's funny. I debated between the Bengals and the Patriots also. There was a third team. I almost said my Houston Texans as well.
Hey, I was going to say, who's your third team? Man?
I was this close to saying the Houston Texans as well, just
Really?
because C.J. Stroud, it's simple as that. C.J. Stroud isn't a prove-it year for himself. If the contract doesn't get done, which all indications right now saying that's not going to get done, I would think that maybe if the Texans don't make the playoffs, it's sayonara C.J. Stroud. But overall, if the Texans miss the playoffs this year for some reason, they probably do something different at quarterback, obviously. But
Correct.
That defense is all under contract. You've got good weapons in Nico Collins under contract, right? You got some young guys coming up. Offensive line's in good shape. So, yes, it would be the end for C.J. Stroud, but the team overall, I don't think it'd be the end of the world completely. It would definitely be disappointing for fans like myself, but it wouldn't be the end of the world as a franchise like it would be for the Patriots or the Bengals. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the NFC.
All right.
James, my NFC team, you're not going to like it. You're going to hate it because you do hate it. But I think the Dallas Cowboys have to make the playoffs in 2026, right?
They don't have to.
Jerry Jones, man. This is a guy that always is in the front light. He is always in the headlines, and that's the way he likes it. He loves the Cowboys being a drama, a soap opera. But fans are tired of it. And yes, they will continue to be the biggest sports franchise in the entire world. That's not going to end this year or any year going forward. How much longer are you going to put your fans through this, Jerry Jones, where you constantly hype them up, constantly have them saying, "We them boys, that year. It's gonna be the year we finally figure it out." No NFC Championship appearances since 1996. We all know the stat, but you got Dak Prescott, big contract. You got CeeDee Lamb, big contract. George Pickens, franchise tag, big contract. On the defensive side of things, you made big trades. You did a lot of stuff. You brought in some guys. Caleb Downs, my best player in the draft. You got him. This is a team that has a lot of talent on both sides of the ball now. And another thing for Jerry Jones to consider, everyone criticized the hire of Brian Schottenheimer. His first year was very disappointing, to say the least, but everyone knew it was going to be a tough year for the Cowboys, a little bit of a rebuild. Getting rid of Micah Parsons is going to be tough for that defense to overcome that. Second year with this roster, Brian Schottenheimer doesn't get to the playoffs. He is gone. He is gone. Unless Jerry Jones just continues to have that blind loyalty like we've seen him have in the past for guys like Jason Garrett, I would just be shocked if it was another disappointing season. Yeah. The Cowboys missed the playoffs. They go 7-10 with some competitive wins, but they don't get it done and they don't make the playoffs as a wild card. People's heads are going to roll, and we might even be looking at Dak Prescott changing teams in 2026. So the Cowboys must make the playoffs in 2026.
I will say I can't disagree with you. As much as I would be like, this would be a music to my ears, Cowboys not making the playoffs. Hell yeah, man. F the Cowboys, man. But in all honesty, you mentioned it. With the expectations you bring from Dallas, you get a new defensive coordinator from Philly, who's the cornerbacks, coach. So you try to build this defense because it's been horrible the last couple of years, even with Micah Parsons. And I don't care if he was hurt or what. You got to find ways to build. You mentioned it. They got Caleb Downs. I think that'll be a solidified pick in that area. And again, you hope they make the playoffs because I know the Eagles just won the division and we had back-to-back NFC winners for the first time in 23 years. So you would think maybe history's on your side. You win the division, you make the playoffs, easy money. But no, my team, Spence, I'm going to just say it right here. It's the Detroit Lions, man. It is the Detroit Lions. Why? Because I look at this team. Yeah, everyone goes through injuries and this and that. But one thing that was stable last year was the quarterback position, Jared Goff. And I'm not blaming Jared Goff. But Spence, please tell me, would you have picked the Lions to be better than the Vikings, who went through 6 quarterbacks last year? You would have picked the Lions. You would have been like, yeah, they're the better team. The Vikings had the same record as the Lions. What do we expect from the Bears? They just went to the playoffs. We expect Caleb Williams be that first quarterback in Bears history, 4,000 yards. We expect them to be better. We expect the Bears to be better. Packers, yeah, they went 9-7-1. Maybe a tie turns into a win. Guess what? They're in the playoffs at 10-7. I know Josh Jacobs' situation is going to be a little murky, but still, you still got guys like Jordan Love out there. You still got Micah Parsons on the defensive side. I think the Packers will probably be in that 10-7 record area. And then
that's what they always finish.
It's just solid right there.
Write it down.
Yeah. And then you got the Vikings who, are you going to play JJ or are you going to play Kyler? And I know me and you, Spence, we're going to say hopefully you play Kyler because we want to see Kyler throw the ball.
Are we giving up on Kyler?
Yo, we gave up
on him for another
day.
We'll have to visit that another day.
I'll say it like this. We gave up on him in Arizona, but now he's throwing it to Jay Jettas. So we're
you
back.
Son of a bitch. I'm back in.
I'm back in this thing. So, no, I need the Lions to step the F up now because since the NFC Championship game, which I will always, and I'm not even a Lions fan, I will always go down and blame Dan Campbell for how he coached that game versus the Niners. Ever since then, you lose Aaron Glenn, you lose the offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears. And then this is your first year. We get it. It's going to be some bumps and bruises. Two solidified coordinators are gone. Might be some up and downs. You got to have to step up because your division is either A, going to get better, or B, you're going to be in third place. And guess what? When you got the NFC West, who's going to put 3 teams possibly, and you, of course, unfortunately, you got to put 1 team from the NFC South. Somehow someone has to make it in this damn thing. And you got the Eagles and you got Bears and Packers. You need to step up. If not, I'm not going to say this is Dan Campbell's hot seat. He's going to have to get fired because I think he's done a phenomenal job for a horrific organization for however the longest I've ever thought. But in all honesty, they got to step up. They got to win. They got to make the playoffs now because other than that, what are you looking at in this team? You got value in Aiden Hutchinson. You got guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you just traded David Montgomery, so you're hoping to put Jahmyr Gibbs as your number 1 guy. Are we going to look at Jared Goff and move from him? You talked about the Cowboys. Should they finally move off from Dak, which I would say yes, just so you don't kill your team with the cap space. But do the Lions look at Jared Goff and is, well, we're going to have to do what the Rams did. It's just, we reached our ceiling. It's not good enough. Let's trade him. Let's trade him to Indianapolis. I don't know.
Where quarterbacks go to die and be washed up in Indianapolis. I'll say one honorable mention I had for the NFC, Atlanta Falcons. They paid everybody. Michael Penix coming off of a serious injury. Tua trying to reclaim his status amongst the NFL elite, we'll say. I think that's going to be a situation to watch and a very winnable division. They should be able to compete in the NFC South, I would hope.
We say this every year.
We say it every year. And just the NFC South just continues to be booty cheeks. But alrighty, James, let's wrap it up. No huddle. Now, before you go, I want to throw this one out there. We haven't talked a whole lot since the news came out about Brendan Sorsby. We had a big discussion about it previously. It looked like he was going to go to the supplemental draft. Now they said nope, no supplemental draft. It almost feels like they kind of trapped Brendan Sorsby into dropping his suit, going to the NFL, and the NFL pulled the rug from out of him and said, nope, psych, you got to wait till April.
Dude, I love it, dude. At the end of the day, we talk about this. It is called accountability. Gen Z, remember this word, accountability and responsibility. You have to just, as my mother always told me, there are always consequences for your actions. And Brendan Sorsby, just work on your game, bro. Everyone's got film on you. They know you're a gambler. You're a degenerate like us. Maybe we're fading away now because all the college guys are just betting big bucks. I'm just sorry I keep losing my $5 parlays. But Spence, you hit it on the nail. He was going to do the supplemental, and then they said, hell no with it. So just work on your game. Just work on your fundamentals. Work on stuff that Mel Kiper and all those guys think your weaknesses are. And just work on it, man, and get drafted in the 3rd round next year.
Yeah, I think I see myself being a fan of Brendan Sorsby when I really shouldn't be. Like, I see myself, whenever he gets drafted, being like, this guy's good. He's going to do something. He's going to become a guy. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I see him. He's one of us.
He is one.
He has gambling addictions, just like we've all gone through that stage.
Yeah, man.
We are. Those days are past us, James. Behind us. Oh, and then last thing, World Cup. How we feeling, James? USA against Bosnia Herzegovina.
Yo, all I know is soccer-wise, man, we should run these motherfuckers. But man, the girls I've seen on Twitter, Bosnia by 100, bro. By 100, bro.
Really? So you like the Bosnians over the American when it comes to the ladies?
Yo, maybe they do selective photos, and I'm just saying, I think the top 4 I've seen from Bosnia is like, oh man, oh my,
dude. The World Cup cameramen are the biggest perverts of all time. You either that or the TV directors for the actual broadcast, because you just know there's someone in the green room that's going, hey, scan the audience, scan the stadium, find the hot bitches, and get them on camera right now. Find them. Find the hot women. Get them on camera now. You know that's what they're doing.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, no, but I think, matter of fact, we dive in a little bit in the World Cup, and I know it's ruining the no huddle stuff.
That's what no huddle's for, brother.
What are your thoughts on all this backlash I'm hearing from the path to the finals for Argentina and Messi? I've been hearing all this flack. Again, I don't know some of these countries, this and that, but they're over here saying when you talk GOAT debate between whoever you have, either it's Ronaldo or Messi and the X, Y, and Z other guys, man, everyone is poo-pooing on Messi's path to the final, and they say that hurts his legacy. Spencer, I don't know how the World Cup is drawn. I don't know how this stuff works. I feel like it's similar to March Madness. You land where you land, and that's how you do it. And if you come up top, you come up top because you beat so many teams.
You're exactly right. You got to play what you play. You went into the tournament knowing exactly what it was going to be. You take care of your business, and you know what your path has a chance to be. So, yeah, they played Cape Verde, their first game. Then they'll play the winner of Australia and Egypt. Then the other side of the bracket, they're going to play one of Switzerland, Algeria, Colombia, or Ghana. I didn't name a single team of those 7 I just named. I didn't name a single team that Argentina wouldn't be heavily favored against. Now, We see upsets all the time.
Yeah.
And if it gets to extra time, things could get interesting. But if it goes to PKs, just sign it up. It's an Argentina victory. And then from there, it could be interesting. Now, I'll tell you this. What I'm very interested to see is for the United States, they play Bosnia and Herzegovina on Wednesday. And then they're likely playing either Belgium or Senegal, but it's likely going to be Senegal based off of recency bias on their form. However, the United States in a recent friendly earlier this year, they beat Senegal. So it is looking very possible that the United States are going to have a quarterfinals matchup against either Spain or Portugal.
Oh, my
And that could be one of the craziest, most hyped soccer matches in this entire country's history. But it all starts Wednesday. You should take care of business against Bosnia, a team that you are head and shoulders better than. And Edin Dzeko, I'm sorry, I love you. Shout out Edin Dzeko from the Man City days. But their best player is 40 years old, and he is not who he used to be, I promise you. So go take care of business on Wednesday, Americans. USA.
USA. I just don't know how I feel about the USA. Team USA playing in San Francisco. Like I said, that's just me.
Would you rather them play in Vancouver?
Hell yeah. Why?
What?
I'm just
No, that was a communist answer there, James. That was a bad answer. On the week of the 4th of July, how dare you?
Right. You're right. All right, man. Let's move on. Spence, man, did you know the other day we had a 4 overtime game in the WNBA between the Washington Mystics and the Portland Fire? 4 OTs, Spence. That was the second game in WNBA history all time that has gone to 4 OTs. Spence, can you guess the other time that it went to 4 OTs in the WNBA right now?
I'm not going to guess that, but can I guess that the final score was like 60-63?
You're not going to lie, you're fairly close.
For a 4 overtime game? I was making a joke.
No joke. Look, I'll give you this. It happened July 3rd, 2001. And a team won 72-69 in 4 OTs. How about them apples? They were playing defense back in the day.
Yeah, defense. AKA just watching the ball go clank, clank, poof, poof, clank.
But I'll tell you this. I know you weren't going to guess it, but back in 2001, the last 4 OT game was the Washington Mystics again versus the Seattle Storm, 72-60 4 OT game.
I can't believe we have 4 OT games that are in the 70s. That is, look, I'm not someone that hates in the WNBA. That's not who we are, but that is atrocious.
That is atrocious.
That is bad.
That's bad. That's
Neither
bad.
team deserves a win that day. I know you hate ties, James, but
This is a worthy nominee.
Yeah, come on. You got to give me that one. At least for the fans in attendance. Imagine staying there the whole time.
Yo, imagine it was like, I know it probably wasn't this time slot, but imagine it was you're watching the game West Coast on playoff season, and it's a 10:30 start. 4 OTs, 2 a.m. for 72-69. Hell no, man.
Oh, that's awful.
All right, Spence, man. Let's move on to football. It's been reported. Now, I don't know how much I trust Polymarket football, but it's been reported that Ty Simpson, #1 quarterback drafted in this last draft class to the Rams, is currently trending towards being QB3 on the Rams. Spence, how do we feel about this move? And is this Trey Lance 2.0?
Ooh. I hope he's not Trey Lance 2.0. I think he at least has a little bit of pedigree than there. But, hey, man, when it comes to Ty Simpson, it begins and ends with we're going to find out next year. We have no idea what it's going to be. They're going all in this year. If he plays this year, it's because of injury and injury alone. But next year is when we'll find out, is Sean McVay truly a genius?
That is a fact. All right, man, Spence. Hey, I got 2 more for you. We're going to go to the World Cup. All right, now, Spence, currently right now, there are 3 teams that are 3-0 in group play: France, Argentina, and Mexico. No team has won the World Cup after going 3-0 in group play since 2002. So the teams you just heard me say, do we have confidence in these 3 teams right now?
Man, Argentina's got a cakewalk to the final. We discussed that earlier. But France is a betting odds favorite as well. And what was the third?
Mexico.
And Mexico. Mexico would be the one would be an absolute Cinderella story. It would be amazing to hear and see that happen. I just don't see them coming out of their bracket with England on deck in the round of 16. But Argentina and France, that very well could be the final.
Yeah, just like the last one in Qatar. That was an amazing final.
Yes.
I felt bad for it because I remember that game was on a Sunday, and I was just like, I told my wife and my in-laws, I was like, sorry, I cannot watch this during church. I got to go. There's no way. It was 2-0, and then it was 2-2 after 80 minutes, and I was like, no, I'm sorry. The service has got to stop. It's got to go. All right, Spins, man. Last one. We're going baseball this time, and this is just an insane stat. So, Spins, man. Hall of Famer David Ortiz career on-base percentage, 380. That's a really good on-base percentage. If you were to take out Barry Bonds' 762 home runs and turn them into outs, his on-base percentage would be 384. Spins, how crazy of a stat is that? And is Barry Bonds your GOAT?
Barry Bonds is absolutely the GOAT. He did steroids. Yes, he cheated. Yes, but you don't get that many home runs, have that many crazy statistics if you aren't just an absolute threat at the plate. I'll never forget being a young kid growing up knowing that the smartest play was to intentionally walk that guy.
Yeah, dude. I saw this and I was like, man, Big Papi always on the TV with A-Rod and Derek Jeter, and you just see a stupid stat like this. Yeah, I still remember the day I watched Barry Bonds break the record in San Francisco. I was in Omaha, Nebraska with my grandparents watching the game. That's where I was when he broke that record, man. Oh, but yeah, man, switching it up. Hey, man, I got no more for No Huddle, Spence. So, man, let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, James. You're going to be on the road later this week, so I'll be flying solo. I'm going to give y'all an update on the World Cup and NBA free agency, which begins on Wednesday. And then Sunday, we're going to do a little fun with some fantasy draft. It's going to be July, which means it's time to talk fantasy football. So that's what we got on the deck. And then James will be back next Wednesday. But until then, for James, I'm Spencer. We'll see y'all next time on Big Game Energy.